Celestial Feces. I gotta know the story behind that name. Asks, I would like to hear your take on young children's access to tech, protecting them while enabling and teaching them. I probably have talked about this at various points in the past. And certainly I believe I've talked about it.
$24.99 just resubscribed for 4 months.
Thank you for resubscribing, M. Hoken. Really appreciate that support. Love all the subs here on Twitch. Well, I love everybody. I say that at the end of darn near every live video I do. And I know I've talked about this before I had kids. I am of the belief, now that Jedi is she's almost 7. Time flies. She has access to tech. At points in the past, she had a smartphone. Dropped it. It got destroyed. I was like, I'm not going to replace it. Forget it. And then she had like a tablet, a super cheap tablet. Wasn't any good. The software was absolute trash. And so when it came time for me to upgrade one of my systems, I'm like, all right, Jedi will get the other system. So she's on her own computer now. And typically, we lock that down per app grouping. So she can only watch so much entertainment, and then it's timed out, and then it's grayed out. There are educational apps that we put on the tablet as well. And I don't know if she uses them as much. Games are there. The only game she really likes, there's a Lego game that's Lego Friends, where it's kind of a car game where you swipe and jump. So it's hand-eye coordination, not going to complain. Minecraft is on there as well, and now she was recently talking to a cousin and one of his friends, and they were kind of teaching her about Minecraft, and I could not be happier. I've said this in recent months. I could not be happier if Jedi got into something like that. I will absolutely encourage. Like, you want to play video games? Yes. Okay, fine. Play. I don't have a problem. I have no problem with video games. I have a bigger problem when she's watching entertainment on her tablet computer, because she's just zoned out. Like, she's checked out. Versus a game where she's being engaged. And, you know, we watch and we listen and we monitor and make sure that she only is seeing the things that she should be seeing. And she has her favorite shows. And, you know, I have no problem with allowing her a little bit of that every day. But I feel strongly about pulling those reins back because, you know, the tablet's not the only thing in her life, nor should it be. A computer is not the only thing in her life, nor should it be. It should be a part of her life. And she should be able to see it for entertainment, for gaming, if you don't consider that entertainment, for education, for communication, right? She should see it as this multifaceted device, certainly beyond anything that I'd used. And anything I can do to encourage that, I'm good with. Now, the parental controls on that platform, not great. Not fantastic. I'm not thrilled with them. Android, by far, has the best parental controls on the planet. Period. End of story. Full stop. That's it. Everything else is just a pathetic mess of garbage that kind of works, but not really. And so, I miss that for her. But it hasn't been too much of a problem. It hasn't shown itself to be that much of a problem, at least to this point. She's traveling right now with Diana, and so when that happened, Diana wanted to kind of unlock the time restrictions. I'm very leery about that. However, the time restrictions for everything have been lifted. I almost guarantee she's been doing nothing on that tablet except for watching shows. I don't think she's been playing. I can't check. I'm not there. And Diana's not going to be, you know, looking through things with a fine-tooth comb. You know, she's there. She's present. She's around. And I think that access is good enough. It's something that she has some degree of choice in. She knows that she can only spend, on the average day, when she's not traveling, spend a certain amount of time in each app before she's done for the day. And then if she wants, she can move on to something else. There's some games that are unlimited, and all the educational apps unlimited, right? There's nothing that is locked down in the educational realm, and it will probably stay that way indefinitely. But I feel that I would want a bit more control or guidance with her and that computer and technology, because she's going to learn about it through osmosis. Yeah, trying things, doing things, on her own, and I'm fine. I'll encourage as much exploration as I possibly can. But she also has a chance to learn from the way I use technology, or Diana might use technology, although Diana doesn't really use it that much, right? I'm more exposed to it in here, right? Working big screens, working a live stream, doing 3D printing, every day. She's immersed. So I feel that it's the parent's job to guide. And tech, much like a television, is not a babysitter. I wish that Jedi was a little further along, such that the entertainment option wasn't the only option, because that's a very deep discussion that I need to have with Diana. I'm not happy with the amount that she's watching. Like, she's just watching too much. She's consuming too much. She's not taking an interactive role with this stuff. So a lot of those reins are going to get pulled way back in. She can sit out, she can zone out in front of the computer. No problem at all. But do something active. Don't do something inactive, because you're just doing it's bubblegum. That is going to be limited, and I think that should be limited. I mean, even the amount of time that I spend in front of the television is very, 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 very limited. But Jedi doesn't really know how to regulate. She doesn't have the ability to know, what she needs to do for any given day. She has no real responsibilities, so to speak. So it's an entertainment device. But I'm hoping that over time it'll become more of a learning device for her. I mean, we don't, it's never held over her head. It's a privilege. It's not a right. But the access to it, I feel, is important. I think it's important for every kid. And I have no problem leaving some things open 24/7 and locking other things down on the same device. Like I said, I just wish I could have had more control over it. So I really don't believe in computer time. I don't really believe in TV time. Diana really doesn't either, because the computer's a great learning tool. I mean, how else are we going to encourage her to potentially, go down the path of STEM, right? Science, technology, engineering, or mathematics, right? Like, how else other than through a computer, right? And so, like I said, if she says something, I want to play a video game, like, I don't want to turn that off. I really don't, because one video game may lead to another, and you never know what that's going to lead to. That's going to lead to an understanding of gaming mechanics, an understanding of how software works, and maybe she would be encouraged to develop her own, right? And when she grows to have those tools mentally, she has a better ability to create with her mind using technology that she's been familiar with for all those years. So I'm kind of I'm in the middle. I'm not like, yeah, whatever, and I'm definitely not like, no, it's limited. I'm somewhere in between. But I think it's very important for parents to take a role and be responsible, and maybe not. You got to find your own path. Every family's different. Every child's different. Every parent's different. But recognizing that with a child being engaged in any amount of technology, they will learn different things than we might have learned. And at the point, and we're talking early age, at the point where she's communicating, well, then it's a different story. When she's communicating with other people, it's like, okay, now we need to teach you to be responsible, because the person you're communicating with is another person. That's not just a screen you're interacting with. There's another person on the other end who has feelings, who has thoughts, who's interacting with you. You need to be respectful as much as you expect them to be respectful with you. to better lead into conversations about cyberbullying, because you know full well that children are going to experience it on one end or the other. Either they're going to be the bullies or they're going to be bullied. Rarely are you going to find them in between. So to be able to teach her as soon as possible that when people cast their own insecurities out onto them, it's more about their problem than it is about her problem. You feel me? Said the same thing about any damn troll that floats along into a social feed, right? Oh, Chris, you're blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that sounds like you're pretty insecure. Good luck with that. It's your problem, not mine. Which by doing that helps reinforce this strong sense of self. Not just self-awareness, certainly, but, a self-confidence like, yeah, you're right. Like, why would someone say something about my hair? Like, my hair's fine. You don't like my hair? Who cares? It's the way it is. So that's got to be a discussion that's going to happen. And so the more familiar she is with the tools, the better that conversation could potentially go. And there are many conversations that we're going to have in relation to technology as she gets older. Responsibility, certainly, when it comes to managing your own account. Responsibility when it comes to talking and interacting with other people. Responsibility and time management. Like, all of these things can be aided with tech. And I don't think holding that off is doing anybody any good. So my advice is let them have access to it. Control what you need to control, what you want to control. But don't keep them from something that you know they're going to find their way to eventually. You can't get rid of technology. It's here to stay. So am I. At least for now. Hang on. Seeing what Krusty said. I can't really see the thread easily. Thank you for the Jawa. A lot more predators online now. My concern was never where my kids would go. Rather, people might try to victimize them. Responsibility. 100% was concerned then, concerned now. Always risk versus reward. Back when I was first getting online, Facebook was still cementing itself as a viable social network. So, I feel like I said, you talk. He said that's a human being, right? That's and sometimes they bully. Sometimes they lie. You can't believe, unless you know them, and even when you think you know them, you don't know. And you can't, until you can verify this stuff, don't go down this rabbit hole. Like, it's just a huge red flag. So part of that will be, the responsibility, like, we're going to have access to passwords. That's just the rule. You're going to have a computer here. You're going to have access here. When it comes time for that kind of stuff, we're going to have access. And there are going to be random checks, because the last thing I need to be hit with is some blindsided with an issue where someone that she should not be communicating with and interacting with is now putting her in danger. And those are the kinds of talks that we need to have. It's a matter, it's not so much a matter of not wanting her to have privacy, because she's going to want to have privacy, but there's going to be a contract with that privacy. I'm like, all right, if now we believe you're responsible enough to manage this on your own, here's the contract. The contract is you will not talk to people you have not met, or you don't, you will not give out details like this, that, and the other thing. You will not, guidelines. Because, these are the rules. If you want this, this is what you got to do. Like I said, it's access to it's a privilege, not a right. The last thing I need to be dealing with is a child that is inadvertently putting herself in danger. So it's an issue, and it's an issue that I hope will be able to face with confidence, but it's going to be difficult. Don't talk to strangers. That's the bottom line. Don't talk to someone you don't know. Don't interact with someone you don't know. You don't know who they are. You can't verify who they are. You don't know what kind of danger they're going to put you in. You think they're asking you innocuous questions, and they're not. I've told Jedi over and over again to the point where she can now answer me. I said, what is my job? She says, to protect me. I'm like, that's right. And I'm always going to have that job. That's always what I'm going to do. So anything I'm going to tell you is being told to protect you. That's what I'm supposed to do. She knows that. She knows that very, very well. Very, 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 very well. So, you hadn't considered learning online social skills and staying safe that way. That'll be a discussion we have very soon. Well, it's true. But the thing is, if you bury your head in the sand, you pretend it doesn't exist, it's gonna rear its ugly head, and then you're definitely not gonna be a part of that conversation. So better to be a part of that conversation and guide and be there. Like no. This is not a free for all, nor is this a democracy here. These are the rules. So laying down those rules is very, very, very important, especially when it comes to interacting with other people. You can't control anybody. You can't control your kids. You can't control other people's kids. You can't control other people. The best you can do is set guidelines and be true to your goal, right? Protect your child. I don't think keeping them from technology protects them. That's me. Well, we didn't really have social media. Well, we had communications and email, but I was in college by then. So my parents didn't have to deal with that. They didn't have to deal with that at all. We are going to have to deal with that. Guarantee we're going to have to deal with that.